Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist turned mindset and high performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that helps you get to that next level of success in your life and business. And my guest today is Kwan, who helps coaches to nail down their avatar psychology from their belief system to how they make buying decisions and implement it into a messaging and sales system. He has been in the trenches writing over 30 different email funnels and sales pages for influencers in the health, wellness, and personal development industry, increasing their program sales between 150 to 300%. Kevin was also the main copy and office coach for two multi-million-dollar online coaching and consulting companies, where he helped their clients craft their high-ticket offers and positioned their content to convert for their clients. And today he shares his wisdom as a mentor, helping coaches get the foundational messaging and sales systems down so that they can grow without burning out. And I'm really looking forward to learning some golden nuggets from Kevin today. So welcome, Kevin, and thank you so much for taking the time to be on my show.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's an honor to share some of the wisdoms and journeys that I've been through and what's working for our clients with your audience.
I'm looking forward to it. So, Kevin, how did you become a coach for coaches? What is your background, and how did you end up doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, great question. So, how did I become a coach? It was kind of like a natural pull. I actually started out in corporate, and I was a bit of business analyst, and I was kind of like leading teams, like small teams for IT. And I found that like naturally I'd be like helping them manage their time or manage their priorities without even kind of knowing it. And then I fell into the health space for myself and improving myself. And I found that I actually enjoyed giving my friends tips and stuff when they would ask me. And from there, I discovered that, hey, I like this fitness stuff better. It's more interesting. We can get really into the biology of it. I know you're a microbiologist by trade, and it really interests me. So I left corporate and I started my own business in 2009. I grew one gym to two gyms, and we just focused on nutrition, strength and conditioning. And then in 2017, I felt that I didn't like it anymore because I built this thing that was too big. And I know you really value foundations. As a new business owner, going from corporate to having a brick and mortar gym, I didn't have the foundations. And when I expanded, I had 18 employees. Here I am. I'm like putting out fires, driving back and forth, trying to keep up with my own coaching work. And my foundations were all broken. And it wasn't until I had that second gym till it kind of like clicks. So sorted that out for like 2 years, and I found that I didn't like having such a big team, and I felt like I was babysitting, managing people, putting out fires, and it kind of wasn't what I wanted, and I kind of fell almost out of love a little bit with what I was doing. And the trigger for me to leave was two things. One, I started drinking every night. I came home and I was just emotionally just done. And I just was drinking every night for over the summer. And I woke up one day, I'm like, hey, this isn't me. This isn't me. And the second thing was my wife was actually 3 months out from giving birth to her first daughter. And I'm like, do I want to be driving and going there at 5 a.m., coming back home at, 3 or 6? I'm like, no. And so I jumped out of there and took the skills to coach other coaches, which has been very fulfilling, and taking all the mistakes and the journey and all that stuff so that they don't have to go through it, but making sure they have solid foundation. So when they want to grow, they're not going to go through all the pain and suffering that I went through.
Love that. That's so amazing that you really took the time to sort out everything that was not working for you, to understand why it wasn't working for you, and to pivot and change to create something that is actually working for you. So, why did you choose to focus on working with coaches specifically? I mean, you could have focused on any kind of customer or business owner. Why coaches?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely other routes I could have went into, but in the health coaching space, I feel that like it's such coaches have like this ability to transform lives, like literally. And sure, you can solve the problems, whether it be weight loss or having somebody's mindset change to see things differently. But the cascading effects, it's like they're transforming their lifestyle. They're giving them a life that they've never had before. They're giving somebody else a life they've never had before. And there's so many great coaches out there that can do this. And for so many people, I just felt more of a pull to continue on helping them so they can transform more lives. If they transform more lives, we become a better place to live and we have more innovation and all that stuff.
So true. That's the positive ripple effect, right?
Yes,
You help others.
help others so that they can do other great things.
Exactly. So, what is it that you most enjoy the work that you do right now when you compare it to what you've done in the past?
What I enjoy, I think the most is, hmm, it's twofold here. One, obviously the business side is really enjoyable when you can empower a coach who's coming from an academic background and feels that marketing is like just educating people and take them into where they are in control of their business, where they can actually think and be intentional about their business. And now there's this beautiful blend of being a business owner, entrepreneur, as well as being the coach and academic. So that's number one. Number two, I do work with a lot of women. I don't know why, but like 99%, even when I own the gyms, I had like more women come to both gyms. And even now, I work a lot with women too who are moms, and just empowering them that they they can be self-sufficient, they can be self-led while being a mother.
That's awesome. But we all know that in business, it's never just sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns. And there are always challenges that we need to face, right? So, what have been your biggest business challenges so far, and what have you done to overcome them?
Yeah, so great question. One of the biggest challenges in business, and it's actually a little different for everybody, is making sure that you understand the patterns of your market. And basically
Mhm.
what that means is like the people that you're serving, the people that you're giving your offer to, what are they doing? How are they consuming? Who are they looking at? What are they interested in? What have they been burnt out on? It's extremely important. And right now, especially with COVID, that skyrocketed coaching. I think
Mm.
there's like a stat. I don't know how true it is and how they keep track of it, but they say that it's like up 400% of like
Oh,
the
wow.
coaching industry, right? So whether it be 400%, it's a lot more than what it used to be pre-COVID because it's pushed
Mm.
people to go online. So the market has changed, and you and I both know, being in this industry, and especially I believe in the mindset industry, that there are a lot of people in there that shouldn't be in here, but they're very good at sales and marketing, right? So they focus on that, they get people in, they get burnt, and then that creates a skepticism, that creates resentment, and then they're a little more cautious. Now you have and then you have a shift in this pattern of, okay, how do we build this trust with people
Mm.
when there's like so many others? And I mean, it doesn't only go for online coaching. Like it can be chiropractors, physios, doctors. Like you get burnt once, you burn your hand once, you're a little more cautious.
Yeah.
So being able to understand those patterns is one, always a challenge, but that's why we're in business, because if we can solve this problem and we can, find people who we can really help, then the fruition is very high.
Yeah, this pattern recognition or whatever you want to call it, it's definitely very important. And as you said, the markets are always shifting, and you
Yeah.
just have to understand maybe what's causing the shifts, but also in which direction the shifts are happening. And I've noticed that what you said is definitely true. So I've been in a couple of programs where the coaches or the person who ran the program, they
Mm-hmm.
were more into the sales and marketing part, but they couldn't actually design and deliver a program that that fulfilled the promise they made in the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they could sell it, but they could not really structure it in a way that it lived up to the promise, which is a shame. Now, do you have a favorite quote or motto that you live by that helps you get through tough times?
Oh, yeah, that's a really good one. I got I have like a ton that I kind of go over in my head, but one that always resonates with me, because in the coaching space, when you deal with people, and also if you have a coaching business, the coaching business actually revolves around you as a person. So being able to manage your energy, manage your emotions, and create that and be in control, that's super important. So one of the quotes that I tend to live by is, professionals know how to create momentum even before the game is played. Amateurs are a victim to their emotions.
Oh, that's a good one. I like it. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, go for it. It's all yours now. The more people it can help, the better.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask a big picture question. So, what legacy would you like to leave behind? So, what's your big purpose in life?
Hmm. Yeah, so I guess it would be like two. There's a personal, and then there's obviously like a business. So my mission is really out there to help. The legacy I want to leave is I want to help more coaches to be able to use the power of thinking and empower them to troubleshoot and be intentional in their business so that their business becomes a vehicle for them to live the life that they want. I don't know, that could be paying for a vacation, working in different places, buying a house, which we've had a few people do in the program. And then personally, through business, actually, because business seems to be like the catalyst for self-development on steroids. It really just kind of
Yeah.
sheds a bunch of layers and like, oh crap, I need to work on this. But through business, the legacy I want to leave and everything I've kind of learned for my daughter to be a leader in herself, to like stand for her own opinions, not follow the flock, and really solidify in her values and stand up for them so that she can be self-led to do whatever she wants in life.
Sounds great. Yeah, I always say that entrepreneurship is kind of like the biggest self-development journey that you can be on because it always faces you, it forces you to face your fears and step
Yeah.
outside your comfort zone. So, how do you make sure that you work towards creating that legacy while staying happy, healthy, and productive on a daily basis? Can you share what your typical day looks like?
Yeah, so first off, to the first question here, how do I do that in for myself? So that the business runs is systems,
Mhm.
frameworks, and not just like the system to making sure that, how we fill our sales pipeline, how we create content, but more importantly is a system of self-regulation. And I guess
Mm.
that goes into answers the latter question, because if we can't, especially if you're in the coaching business, or even like if you're an entrepreneur, the business depends on you. Now, some of your listeners might not be a person-facing business. It could be like selling a product or whatever. But at the end of the day, you make the decisions, you know the vision, and you know how to solve the problems that kind of come in here. So if we can't self-regulate ourselves emotionally, solidify our beliefs, manage our energy, then the business can only grow as much as our limits to that.
Mm.
So So it's not just a system in the business and creating these foundations, making sure avatar messaging systems to create sales, but also the system for ourselves every morning. And I know earlier we were talking, and I get up at 4:45 a.m. Monday to Thursday. Thursday I get up at like 5:30 to 6. But the reason for that, and that's what works for me, everybody's going to have to find their different thing, is because I'm using that time to manage myself and to fill me up and make sure my cup is full so that my mindset is good. So when problems and chaos or people are coming at me, I'm not being pulled by them, being an effect to them or the circumstances of the economy or Facebook or Instagram. I'm full in myself so that I can think clearly and solve problems more clearly.
I totally relate to that because that's kind of similar to what I do as well. So I love to go running in the morning in the summer between 5 and 5:30ish. So watching the sunrise, it's beautiful. It's
Yeah, I
the
saw some of your Instagram photos. It's
yes,
nice, even if it's cold, as long as it's not icy though. But yeah,
exactly.
it's like great that what you do, you practice what you preach, and you're doing something
Yes.
that fills you up. Because I find that once we kind of get into a state where we don't fill ourselves up, and now we're in effect to our emotions, we're in effect to people's problems, and we tend to react instead of
Mm.
being proactive because we're just being pulled. Don't have the capacity to think and like what are my boundaries? What is aligned decisions based on my principles and values? So,
Yeah, that's so true. And it has happened to me in the past as well, where I suffered from burnout. And I know what it's like when you've kind of lost your way, because sometimes your life just shifts, your circumstances change, and all of a sudden your former systems stop working. And you have to
mm,
figure out what is going to work for me now in this situation with all the circumstances that I'm facing right now. And that is usually where people get into trouble because they're still in the mindset of this used to work, like this
yeah.
was working all the time. Now it's not working. What do I do? I don't know how to shift. I don't know what to change. And that's where we really have to be proactive to find a new solution to a new problem that we are facing.
Yeah, like you're so right on that because what we're talking about, the challenges in business, understanding market changes, like looking for patterns, it's exactly like what you're saying. You have to understand change because really that is what changes. The market changes, we change, and
Yeah.
what fills us up before, 3 months ago might not be fulfilling us now, and that could be due to a variety of reasons.
Yeah, we always have to review and check in with ourselves if we're still aligned with what we want to do or if things have shifted, and then respond to that and find a new way. Now that we know a little bit more about you, I'd love to switch gears and just learn a little bit more about your work. So, what are the three most common mistakes that coaches make when it comes to their messaging and sales?
So this is pretty much common with a lot of the coaches, especially in the health coach and professional industry, because they have an academic background. And these three common, we'll call them mindset traps, is actually over and over again the pattern that continually holds them back, and they come back, oh, why am I getting a financial objection? Nobody's engaging with me, nobody likes my stuff. So here they are. One of them is certainty. Okay, it's really simple, and certainty comes in three phases. One, there's certainty in themselves, there's certainty in their process and what they do, and there's certainty that they can also get the opportunity. So that's
Mhm.
one of the mindset traps kind of broken down into three. And certainty in self is not like, it's not just like I believe in myself mentally, like you're embodying yourself. So you put a post out because you feel pulled to write that thing in a way that is going to serve your audience. And if you don't get engagement on that, it's fine. Whatever. You don't put your validation on the external. Process, meaning that you own your process. You're not afraid to be polarizing. You're not afraid to say what you need, and dance around and using like negation words like just or I think. It's like it is. So
Mhm.
that's, and you're ready to defend it. I think most people are not doing that because they're afraid if they're challenged or they get a troll, they don't know how to handle that. But if you're certain in your process, the words just come to you to defend what you need to defend, right?
Mhm.
And the third one is you can seize the opportunity, meaning that's faith in yourself that you can figure out the skills you need, get the skills you need to be able to get the opportunity that's out there. That's one.
Yeah.
And number two is projection.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
so they project like we are mirrors. I mean, there's, a reason that unexplained reason, but there's a reason why I like at one time I had 5 coaches in my program that all dealt with weight loss with over 40 women who have menopause. 5. So we work on differentiate. Yeah, there's the tactical, differentiate them, make whatever their process unique, but all of them sold just a little differently. Their content was just a little different because their personality, who they are, and what they project attracts a certain type of person. And that's the good thing. Now, in terms of the opposite, if we're projecting where we are coming from a want, where the relationships are transactional instead of trying to connect with our audience, like somebody, like 10 people come into your group and they're like, oh, I gotta figure out how to get them on a call and sell them. Well, now I'm kind of projecting a really repelling type of mindset onto them. All
Mm.
my words, whether we know it or not, how we handle whatever they say, how we interact with them is all going to be aligned with that. Versus projecting, I am here to lead. I'm going to see what I can get out of this person and what's their potential. Completely different perspective in what you're projecting. And this is part of the reason why on sales calls, for example, especially we deal with the high ticket programs, is they get financial projection because they're projecting a want. I want closes. I need to sale. I need it. I need it. And then, you get all these objections, and then we break our own boundaries, and we're like, oh, what if we do a 12-month payment, or what if we do this? And then we begin trying to try to talk them into it rather than leading them to a good decision. And that's just a repelling type energy.
True, so true. I hate that kind of sales calls.
Yeah, yeah. Who doesn't? This feels like it's
Ugh,
just so icky. I don't
it's
know. It's just
so icky. It's
it's like my daughter the other day, we were trying to put her to bed, and she's trying to talk us into so you stay up for an extra hour. And she's like, please, but please. And we're like, oh, I'm so annoyed at this. But it's kind of like that in the adult version, right? Well, I
yeah,
can really coach you. I can really help you, right? Oh, what if we do this? What if you do that? It's like, no, if you're a leader, you know your value, you know your boundaries, and you're there to lead that person to make the best decision for themselves.
yeah, so
So
true.
that's,
I always think that it's not my job to convince someone. It's my job to tell them what I can do for them and then let them decide, right?
yeah, absolutely. Now, the third one, it's a little boring, but I feel it's like it is really foundational. And I feel that a lot of people think they know it, and it's probably from the corporate world, but in the small business world, the entrepreneur world, where it's about connections, they get it wrong.
Mm.
So the third one is values.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this a mindset trap? It's a mindset trap because what we see as values is not actually aligned with what we're actually doing. And your values are actually what your priorities are. What are you already doing? Those are your values. It's not a values list. Oh, that honesty sounds great. Integrity sounds great. I think that is my value. I want that. No, it's what you put first always over the other. It's what triggers you when you hang out with people. What are they doing? And then it's like, oh, that really makes me angry. Those are actually clues that they are your values. For example, if you value family, if
Yeah.
you get a call from daycare, I don't know, I get calls from daycare, so my daughter's 4, and you're on a coaching call, and they're like, okay, your daughter's puking, and she really needs you to come pick her up and take her to the hospital. Okay, so would you quickly go and like, okay, close the call, I'm gonna go pick up my daughter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know that's extreme, but that action means that you do value family. Or you go, call grandpa or grandma, or call your wife or whomever, or tell them, can you just take care of her, for another 30 minutes or whatever, then that means you value work or whatever you're doing in work more than family. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an example there. And then you would need to really explore that, because values are important, because that creates your boundaries, that creates your principles, the rules of operating, and then how you operate in your business. And then that attracts people with similar values because you're making a stance, and leaders make a stance. Like, here I am, this is what I value, these are the rules of operating if you want to work with me. And then the people who really align with that will come, and the people who are like, ugh, you will repel them.
So true. And I mean, it also helps you plan your day because it sets your priorities straight.
Yeah,
You always know what to focus on and what to prioritize.
absolutely. Yes, it does. You use your values to kind of like guide you, because where people feel icky about their business or they feel burnt out is because they're not clear on their values. So they're putting other stuff that doesn't light them up, they don't value, and they do it for a long time. And then they just feel this like internal tension always, and
Mm.
guilt or burnout. And then they hate their business, and they hate all that.
Yeah, that resistance. If you ignore it for too long, then you might get to the point where like, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, it happened to you. It sounds like it happened to you in the past where you feel like this is not lighting me up anymore. It's time for a change. Something is not working. And
Yes.
that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's okay to realize that something that you have done in the past is just not what you want to do going forward. So that's totally fine. And I think people should stop seeing that as a failure. It was just a stepping stone towards something else. And they learned something along the way, hopefully. So
You're absolutely right. Yeah, everything that happens in our lives is a learning experience so that we can grow from it if we choose to see it that way.
yes. So how often, I mean, we often hear the advice to fake it till you make it. So what's your opinion on that? Is that good advice or is it a load of BS in your opinion?
Well, in the context of like foundations and burnout, fake it till you make it can only take you so far. And then you just have this unalignment in you where you just feel like you're fighting something all the time, and you're procrastinating all the time. And this is where it like becomes really important to understand, your values, work on your certainty, and come from leadership, not wanting, becomes super important. And we only have so much tank to self motivate rather than feel pulled to do it. And it comes with regulating your emotions, your beliefs, and your energy, because faking you make it only goes so long. And that's kind of like it's almost like taking like credit from a bank. Like, you don't like it, it's not aligned, so you keep taking credit, keep taking credit, keep taking credit. And then suddenly we like burn out, we can't fake it anymore. But if we show up authentically, and authentically is just like being you, like your personality, your energy, we can't do that if we continue to take credit. What we need to do, we need to make sure that we come from a place where we're always making deposits. And how do we do that? We got to know how to regulate our emotions, meaning regulating our emotions isn't jumping up and down before you go on a live. It's actually making sure that you know what fills your tank, what gives you joy, and you do the things that give you joy to fill your emotions up. Because once you're filled up, you don't need the external, whatever likes, engagement, people say, oh, you're so smart, to fill you up, because you're already full. You got to solidify our beliefs. Okay, this is what I believe, and take it or leave it, which then helps you manage your energy. So now when you're full and you're energetic and you're joyful and you're happy, that's when you can express all that energy outward of being you, whatever that is.
I totally understand where you're coming from, but I'd like to push back on this
Mm-hmm.
just a little bit because I think that this advice, the fake it till you make it, gets a bad rap, but depending on how you interpret, it's actually pretty solid advice. So, and what I mean by that is that when you gradually and repeatedly leave your comfort zone and you put yourself into the kind of situations that you would encounter as the person that you want to become,
Mm-hmm.
that helps train your nervous system to not freak out in those situations. And the more you're able to calm and control your nervous system, the more you're able to regulate your emotions and energy. So I don't say lie to people, act against your, like, don't be misaligned, don't pretend to
Mhm.
be someone you're not, but start putting yourself out there more and expand your comfort zone in a way
Mhm.
that is aligned with your future self's path, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And it depends on how you interpret the fake it till you make it. I'm coming
Yeah.
from where a lot of coaches just go do it, even though it feels aligned. Just say this thing, follow this template, even
Mm.
though it's unaligned, like just fake it till you make it. But to what you're saying, how you interpret it, okay, so if it's this is who I want to become because that person's going to give me these results and you feel aligned with it, there
Yeah,
is definitely a sense where you kind of have to step into that and become that person, even though you don't feel like that person yet. But as long as you're
exactly.
aligned with it and you're managing yourself, we can kind of keep doing that and doing that and doing that.
Yeah, and speaking of emotional regulation, I think that emotional mastery is really key to creating a thriving business. And I mean, trauma and loss are common experiences that block our ability to use our emotions to our advantage, because they often create those perceptual filters that just highlight negative experiences and make us hyper vigilant. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the role of trauma and how it can show up in our worldview and messaging.
Yeah, so I was really put to the test on this one. And actually, last year in 2022 of March, I experienced a loss. My 2-month-old daughter, she we found her not breathing, and that was really traumatic. Not just losing your baby,
Yeah.
but also the process kind of in between from when you find her and then the experience all the way to the hospital and then at the hospital to saying your goodbye. So that really was a tough time that whole year. And being in the coaching business where you're the face of your business, I was basically at the lowest energy level. Guilt, shame, apathy, who cares? And it's tough because as an entrepreneur, you eat what you kill. So luckily I had the systems and such to kind of float me for a little bit, but then 3 months wasn't enough. I was still just all flustered. I had creative insecurity, like all these past things just started coming up, and I was just a little more shaky. I didn't know who I was. So overcoming that, like the emotion stuff, and kind of to your point before, was what filled me up before and doesn't fill me up now. How I run my business isn't the same how I used to run my business, how I like to run my business. Now I feel that when you've been to the pits of emotions, you start to really truly find what you value. And one of my biggest values I found was like connection. I do enjoy deep conversations like what we're having right now, getting into there and just telling the stuff that people go through that isn't really shown on the surface level social media. So you really find your values as well as you really find like how do I get myself out of this? How do I find joy in life again? Where I'm not triggered when I hear an ambulance. I'm not triggered when I see kids dying in a movie. So it kind of like I'm really thankful for all the self-development stuff that I've kind of done and the experience that I've done because it really kind of goes back into understanding the systems and what fills you up again. Those might have changed. Solidifying your beliefs and really filling yourself up again, even though that might look different, so that you can fill up other people as well. And for me, definitely, it was understanding what gives me joy and to focus on that, to be more present on that, weeding out. I mean, it sounds kind of mean, but it like really weeding out your surroundings, like the people you hang around with, who gives you, who lights you up, and who takes away energy. So that because my energy is now even more important. So stop talking to people that are taking your energy away. And then finally, it's understanding understanding like what it sounds cliche, but it's like for my experience, what love is. What does it mean? And love isn't like, I love my family, I love my wife, but love is also loving yourself and being love and understanding from other people when they say certain things that could be hurtful, that could be, if you came from a place of love, would be they might have had be going through some stuff. They might be walking with pain in their hearts, and I triggered that, but I'm going to love them anyways because that's what they're going through, and I'm going to lead them to still find their best potential and not being afraid of that.
Yeah,
Oh, that
fine.
answers that question.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing. I know that must have been so difficult and so hard. And it takes a lot of courage to talk about it and to talk about the struggle and the grief that you experience, because I know what it's like to struggle with those strong emotions where you find yourself just losing all joy and you don't see the light at the end of of the tunnel for quite some time, and
Absolutely.
you have to fight your way back, and you have to find one positive step and another positive step that you can take in the right direction. But sometimes when you're just so struck by grief or sadness and loss, then it's really, really hard to do that. So kudos for managing that situation and just getting back out there and finding your joy again. So that's so amazing. And again, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, yeah. It was a long journey, but I think that it it was just part of life for me.
Yeah,
So you're welcome.
yeah. So it's kind of tough to get back to the interview after a story like that,
Oh,
but
yeah. Hopefully, yeah. It's like a buzzkill.
it's kind of like, oh. So still, anyways, I would still love to hear your 3 tips for messaging and positioning that helps coaches to attract their dream clients more effortlessly.
All right. 3 tips that are practical.
Yes.
Um, Number one, it goes back to definitely certainty. Like you have to be certain what you do, your process, and your that you can acquire the skill to get the opportunity. Because without certainty, you're always looking for somebody to tell you what to say, somebody to tell you what to do. So, like a practical thing, if I can give a tip of what we do in our with our clients, is we get them to write a document that they read to themselves every morning, and that includes writing in the third person, okay, of meaning like, okay, Kevin is this, he has these things, he does this is how he solves problems, this is how he thinks. Write that in the third person, and every morning they would read that. So it includes that, includes the values, about 3 to 5 values, as well as boundaries. What are the things that trigger boundaries that you're like, nope, that is the line that you're crossing? Because if you don't know, obviously, the values, then you're going to be an effect. Write down principles. How do you operate? What are the rules of operating? And then write down affirmations, but write down affirmations that feel realistic to you. Don't go, I'm a millionaire. Okay, so then suddenly, like you're going to be fighting the brain, saying no, you're not. That's why we also have affirmations. Affirmations are more questions, and the questions help you. So you want to write in a positive way where you go, okay, why am I making money easily? Or why am I making 10K a month so easily? And then you pause and you let your brain sort that out, because our brains are kind of like a supercomputer, and it'll find evidence to reinforce that for you. So that's number one. That's a quick tip that we can do for cultivating certainty. And the more that you fill yourself up every day, your mind and then your actions will align over time. It's not going to be do this one day and then suddenly tomorrow. It is an over time thing. So that's number one, because that's important for sales and messaging. Because if you're not solid, and people follow leaders, so if we're not solid, and people are like, I don't know, I'll think about it, right? Because you think in terms of like business, or you're lost in the jungle. Like, how confident would you be in somebody where they're like, I think there's a jaguar that way, but I don't know. Maybe we should go here. What do you guys think here? Like, Would you follow a person like that? Okay, so number 2 is the perspective of how you are treating your audience. Again, there's there's a lot of people, 400%. There's an increase of coaching. It's different now than what it was pre-2019. So if everybody's always treating their audience transactional and you're just trying to sell them right away, then it's going to be very hard. You're always going to be on the hustle and bustle of trying to talk people into it rather than attracting people into your world. So see people as in your world as you're connecting, you're leading. How can I connect with this person? Then how can I lead this person out of their own beliefs so that they can make a decision about changing their mind, taking a different action? Obviously, it leads to your program, but you got to connect with them first. Otherwise, they don't care. Instead of seeing people, how can I get this person on as a sale? Like seeing them as number signs, seeing it as a transactional relationship. Because people can feel that now. I feel, okay, this is only like anecdotal, but I feel like our brains have evolved to filter faster. Our brains have evolved to, like, instead of danger, like a jaguar's after you, it's more like this person's trying to sell me. What are their true intentions, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then that will definitely solve a lot of the next layer of messaging and sales. And then finally, when you are doing messaging and sales, all that is, okay, if we can kind of flip what marketing is back to the transactional thing, not a transactional thing, it is coaching. It is coaching for coaches out there. If you're an entrepreneur, you can apply, or sorry, if you sell something else like a product, it's still the same thing. Because marketing really is coaching, but you're not coaching, here's a solution, because we have so many solutions because we're in this information age for the last, like, since the internet was public. It's coaching their beliefs, because your beliefs, okay, creates thoughts and feelings, which creates thinking, which creates decisions, then it creates actions. So if you can change it at the root level, coaching their beliefs in your marketing to get them to believe something else, change their beliefs a little bit, automatically they're going to self-justify, self-conclude, and that's going to make a client or a prospect more confident coming in a program rather than being pushed in there with doubt. So that's my 3 tips.
So true. Great tips. Thank you so much for sharing. And last but not least, where can our listeners find you online if they would like to learn more about you or your work or just connect with you?
Yeah, I'm mostly on Facebook. You can find me, Kevin Kwan. There's also Kevin Kwan, like the author that wrote Crazy Rich Asians. I'm not that person, but you'll see me, Kevin Kwan, or I'm the Kevin Kwan _ on Instagram. My group where I teach a lot of this stuff and elaborate on it is Clients Through Connection Facebook group.
Awesome. Kevin, thank you so much for sharing your tips and your insights with us today. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure sharing all this stuff here, and you asked some great questions there.
Thank you. Take care and talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. That's a fantastic, easy, and zero-cost way to help the show grow. Just use the link in the show notes and make my day. If you'd like to take it one step further, you can now join my inner circle and become an official supporter of the Wired for Success podcast. Supporting the show is super simple and will only take you about 30 seconds. Basically, it works like any other paid subscription. All you have to do is go to glow.fm/Wired for Success podcast, pay $5 per month or as much or as little as you like, and choose the link of the podcast player you want to use. You can listen anywhere in any app. So for less than the price of 1 to 2 fancy coffees per month, you can really make a difference and help me keep this show awesome. For more tips and info, check out my website at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions. Thank you so much and talk to you soon.